Hi everyone, it's David from Automotive Press. As you know, my all-time favorite vehicle is this thing right here, which is the 5th gen, current generation Toyota 4Runner. I love this thing so much that I bought 7 different versions over the years, including the TRD Pro and Limited. And this week I'm driving the TRD off-road version, which I think actually represents the best value. But what I want to talk about today is why this generation, the 4Runner, may be the best version of 4Runner ever, and you might want to buy it before it's too late, because we are expecting and speculating that the new 6th gen 4Runner will show up sometime later in the year. We don't know exactly when or exactly what the shape will be, but we can speculate, and I did in one of my previous videos. So go ahead and take a look at that if you haven't done so yet. But regardless, assuming the new generation 4Runner will be here in 2024 as a 2025 model year, then this version right here is going to go away. And in some way, I'm sad about it, because this one is proving to be the best body on the frame SUV ever in the history of Toyota. And so I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you should consider buying this gen and the 5th gen 4Runner before it's too late. Let's go. Welcome back. So once again, I love this generation of 4Runner, and I wish I could keep buying it, because I think this version of 4Runner is something that could last forever if you take care of it. But specifically, let's talk about those 10 reasons why you might want to consider buying the current gen before it's too late and the new version comes out. Now, just to be clear, even though we don't know too much about the new generation, I am sure that the 6th gen 4Runner will be just as good or maybe even better in some ways. But just because we don't know enough about the new version, I'm going to still suggest and recommend that you buy this version for now. And then a few years down the road, once the new one is out, then you have a chance to drive it. If you like it better, you can always upgrade, because you won't probably lose any money on this because of the fact that the resale value is so high. But let me come back to the 10 reasons why this thing is so good. And the first reason, of course, is the overall quality and the manufacturing build of this 4Runner, which is still built in Japan at the legendary Tara factory, which I consider to be perhaps the best factory in the world. And that's where most of the Lexus models are produced. So it's unusual that the 4Runner is actually being produced on the exact same production line as other Lexus models, including the GX, which we have right behind us. That's one of ours. So this 4Runner is built like a Lexus, but priced like a Toyota, and that's what makes it so good. But in terms of quality, once again, if I measure the gap as I always do, you know what? I've been measuring it a little while earlier for multiple times, and this time I brought my digital caliper as well, just to make sure that what I was seeing is true, because what I was measuring is about 2.5 to 3 millimeter, and that seems to be even better than what I remember when I measured the 4Runner last time. And so I took my digital caliper and confirmed that the gap from the beginning all the way to here is indeed 2.5 millimeter. Is that even possible? Most cars are between 3 to 5 millimeter, and you know what? I've never seen anything below 3 millimeter, but here we are. This particular 4Runner, the affordable one, has a world-class panel alignment and panel gap. I'm going to keep on measuring here just to see how it is, but they're all good. This is 3 millimeter here, 3.1 maybe. This is a bit wider at 3.7 millimeter. And here is 3 millimeter as well. And just to give you an idea, if you keep walking with me, I have the 2023 GX behind me, and I can tell you right now that the quality of the 4Runner is identical. Maybe even a little bit better than this GX, because the gap here is 3 millimeter, not 2.5. Same thing here, 3 millimeter, which is already a world class. And then this is 3.1, a bit wider here at 3.9. And then down here is 3.1 millimeter. So as you can tell, the 4Runner is actually just a slightly better than the GX, which should surprise you, because it means that this affordable SUV has the same standard, in some way maybe even better quality than the GX that we happen to own. And that is one of the reasons why this thing is so astonishing. So now let's take a look at the paint job, which is a solar octane in this one. As you know, this was the TRD Pro color in previous year, and it's now available for regular models. And it definitely isn't the color for me, but it is really bright, more like orange than it is red. But it stands out for sure, and I can tell the paint job is excellent. There's a good amount of clear coat, so the reflection is good. Very little orange peel on this particular paint also. Sometimes there's a lot of orange peel on particular Toyota models, but this one doesn't have too much. a little bit along here, which is often noticeable in Toyota models. And if I were to compare with GX over here, just quickly, obviously GX has an extra layer of clear coat, so you can see that even though this car is dirty, there's definitely a little bit more sheen and gloss to this one. So paint job is excellent on the 4Runner, not as good as the GX. Obviously this is Lexus versus Toyota, but you can see when you look at the angle, it's just a perfect uniform paint. And so that's really the first reason why you should buy the current Gen 4Runner, because the new generation in the first couple of years will have some bugs to sort out, and the quality of the panel fit and alignment and paint job might not be quite as good as this one, because this one has been around for a long time and they got all the quality things sorted out. So anyway, that's the first reason why you should buy. The quality is perhaps one of the best, and it is built in amazing Tara factory. The second reason is very much related to the first one, and that is the fact that this isn't just well-built quality vehicle, it's also something that lasts a long time. So in terms of long-term reliability and durability, the 4Runner has proven over and over again, over many different kind of databases, many different survey results, this thing will last forever if you take care of it. Even Ahmed at Car Care Nut talks about the fact that this is perhaps the most reliable vehicle in the world, mainly because the engine is simple but extremely well designed. This one has the proven 4-liter V6 engine, which by the way is still being used in some models. For example, the new Land Cruiser, the full-size 300 series that is, sold in Asia and Middle East, still uses 4-liter V6 engine. But this is going to go away with a new version of the 4Runner, I'm sure about that, likely to move to a 2.4 turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. But in the meantime, on the 5th gen, this engine has gone through many iterations over the last many years or so, and therefore all the things that could have gone wrong would have gone wrong, and they've over-engineered this. It's a simple engine, nothing complicated, easy to service, and many 4Runner owners have driven this model, right up to 300,000-400,000 miles or even beyond that with absolutely no issue. If I have to be stuck in an island with one car that will last forever, this would be it. So second reason why you need to buy the current generation 4Runner before maybe it's too late is the fact that this particular vehicle with this engine is perhaps the most reliable vehicle in the world, and it will give you many years of trouble-free service. And we just don't know whether that will be the case for the new version of the 4Runner, even though it will have a Toyota quality and Toyota reliability with a turbocharged engine and more complicated powertrain. It just might not be quite at the same level as this simple and proven engine. So while the hood is open, I'm going to talk about the third point of why this is such a good buy, and that is once again to do with the engine and just the powertrain. You know that the automatic transmission is very outdated in this model, but because of the way it was designed, together with this 4-liter engine, the powertrain combination of the engine and the transmission is just so reliable. And that's going to go away in the new generation 4Runner. Based on my prediction, it will likely have the new 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with and without hybrid system. The transmission will also be very new. Granted, it will be a better transmission by design and engineer standard, but it will be moving away from this simple, proven approach to powertrain. So if you like simplicity and you want 100% assurance that this vehicle will remain trouble-free, then you might want to stick with this generation of the 4Runner. Also, not everyone likes the turbocharged engine. A lot of people still like a V6 feel, which has a more natural feel, more organic feel. And even though it wouldn't be as fast or as powerful as a 2.4 turbo, but kind of give you that truck feel that you might not get in the new gen 4Runner. And that's why I think this version of 4Runner is definitely one of the best buys, because it will be the last year of the 4Runner with a V6 engine. The fourth reason why this gen 4Runner is a real gem is also because of the way it is built inside. Granted, the new generation 4Runner will have a much more updated interior with a bigger screens, probably 14 inches in the center, probably at 12.3 inches in the center cluster here, and it will have a host of new technology. So if you're a tech person, you might want to wait for a new gen, but for me, I like the proven, simple style of interior that is well manufactured and built to a higher standard. Because this 4Runner hasn't changed for so many years, It's using the older standard for material finish and material control, which means that all the materials are actually thicker than new generation Toyota models. It doesn't matter what models you buy. So you can just hit the materials, feel it, and everything is super thick. The material of the actual vinyl, this is not leather on this one. The thickness of the padding, the thickness of the plastic, you can just touch it and feel it. It's solid. Whereas all the newer models of Toyota and many other new models from any other brands just simply have switched over to thinner materials to save weight, to save money. So all the plastic feels a little bit tinsy and a little bit light when you hit them and touch them. But not on this guy. All the dials and everything, super solid, well built. Nothing seems to ever goes wrong with the 4Runner in terms of squeaks or rattle. And again, the materials are very thick, much thicker than what you will find in modern vehicle. And most likely all the materials here will be thicker and perhaps a little bit more durable than what you might find in a new generation 4Runner if it does come out sometime later this year. So that's another reason to buy this one. The fifth reason is the fact that this 4Runner, again, is built to the older standard, which means all of the panels are solid steel, not aluminum. No doubt the new generation 4Runner will switch to aluminum panel for some of the section, maybe the hood and the front fender, maybe the rear quarter panel and so forth. But on this one, every sheet metal is a thick steel built on the same standard for years ago when they weren't as concerned about weight or saving money, because nowadays they want to make the material as thin as possible. And that's why on the newer Toyota or actually any other models, when you have aluminum front hood that is really thin, you can just literally push it with your finger and kind of bends downward. But not on this one, it's pretty solid. So if you're a type of person who really want to do some true off-roading, or you want to go somewhere really remote and you want the maximum durability in terms of material, you can't go wrong with this particular 4Runner. Just because the sheet metals are thick, it's all steel and therefore very solid, not so easy to bend, because aluminum panels will be easier to bend, even though they're lighter. Also, even the base model of the 4Runner has a true capable off-roading features and equipment and design. This one is a TRD off-road, which I think is actually the best value among all the models offered within the 4Runner lineup, because it has almost as much or same equipment as the TRD Pro, but quite a bit cheaper than that. But even if you buy a base 4Runner, the cheapest one, you still get pretty good clearance, front, back, and off the ground, and you get a decent shocks that are very capable. And that's one of the things that makes 4Runner so special, is that the off-road capability is simply outstanding even for the base model. So now I'm on the road with the 4Runner. This is a TRD off-road package. And you know what I love about the 4Runner, no matter how many times I drive it, is the fact that it still feels like a solid truck. Kind of like the old Land Cruiser feel, or some of the older generation anyways. That solid truck feel that give you kind of stability, give you a sense of safety because you're also high off the ground. That kind of feel is disappearing quickly from many SUVs, not only because they're all moving to unitized body, but also even for body on the frame models. You know, everything is lighter, it's aluminum, even the frames are lighter, and you just don't get the same sensation. Especially on this generation 4Runner, because we're still using hydraulic power steering versus electric power steering, you get a really heavy steering feel that give you a sense of truckness, which I like. It might not be for everyone, because some people really like a lighter steering feel, but for me and for many of you who love trucks and who loves the old feel of Toyota, well, you're going to lose that when the new generation comes out, because it will surely move to electric power steering with a lighter feel. You'll likely be a little bit more numb compared to this one. So if you like this existing and the current 4Runner feel, buy it before it's too late, because there's no way the new Gen 4Runner is going to be able to replicate this truck feel, partly because it's moving from hydraulic power steering to electric power steering, but also just because of the entire design and the engineering behind it will change, and they will not be able to replicate the same kind of a solid feel. I think the new Gen 4Runner will feel a little bit lighter and not quite as solid in terms of truck feel compared to this one. The seventh point I want to bring up is about serviceability, which means that this particular 4Runner is really easy to service, whether you are kind of do-it-yourself mechanic and you want to do your own oil change or service, or you want to do something more comprehensive and upgrade the engine or exhaust or whatever it is, this vehicle is proven to be a very simple vehicle to work with, and many different people from all ages and all groups have upgraded or serviced on this 4Runner. Parts are readily available. It's a simple engine, as I mentioned before, but the rest of the mechanics of this vehicle are also pretty straightforward. And that is something that we just don't know what's going to happen with a new Gen 4Runner, because it will have a turbocharged engine, potentially a hybrid system with a much more complicated powertrain, and everything else in the vehicle will also be updated with new technology and new features, which means the serviceability is simply going to be more complicated. It doesn't mean that it can't be serviced, but I'm certain that this particular generation 4Runner will be easier to service and easier to upgrade and easier to maintain than the new version, and that may be an important point for you. The eighth reason why I really like this version of the 4Runner, especially in its last year as a 2024, is because I know that Toyota has applied Kaizen Thinking, which means continuous improvement thinking, for so many years to this 4Runner that there's absolutely nothing wrong with this vehicle. It may be outdated, maybe it's not the most efficient model anymore, but in terms of engineering, in terms of design, you know what, they've got all the bugs taken out over the last decade or so, and this thing is absolutely proven to be a gem, both in terms of quality, long-term reliability, just the overall feel. It just feels right, and that is just because of years and years of Toyota's continuous improvement principle of making this better and better each year, and they have. Even the technology features in this car are not that bad. It's reasonably up to date, and there's never ever squeak or rattle I hear in this 4Runner, because the whole thing has been fixed and there's not a single piece of material that's loose or not done right. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this 4Runner has reached the pinnacle or the peak of quality and engineering after so many years of refinement. And so because this is the last year of this generation, this may be the best 4Runner to buy. It's the most mature, it's the most proven, with the least amount of problem that you will likely face down the road. The ninth reason why this 4Runner is perhaps the best buy is because the price is still very reasonable. They have raised the price over the last several years. It does keep on going up, especially the TRD Pro, but compared to many new models out there, the 4Runner is honestly a bargain. And you guys already know that when Toyota introduces new model, whether it's a new Tacoma or new Tundra, they keep raising the price. And in fact, we're being shocked with those price increases because the numbers are much higher than we really want it to be. So I suspect when the new 4Runner comes out, the price will also increase substantially, and therefore it might not be as good of a value by the time the sixth generation comes out. I really do think that they'll be careful with the price increase, just because then you'll creep up to the Land Cruiser pricing. But still, we can expect perhaps several $1,000s increase across the board, and that will push the 4Runner into sort of a next category of pricing. But right now, where it stands, especially this TRD off-road package, is such a good value for such a good price, simply because you can't get anything else out there with this capability at this price range. The 10th and the last point is somewhat related to the 9th one, and that is to do with the resale value of 4Runner in general. Over the last several years, this thing have kept its value so high. In fact, if you're smart and you're able to get a TRD Pro version of the 4Runner, it simply doesn't depreciate. It just keeps appreciating as the time goes by, because there are so few of them around. As you know, I bought 7 different versions of 4Runner over the years, and I've lost very little money, if at all, whenever I traded them into a different model. That's why I keep upgrading this 4Runner. I keep trading one in and buying a new one again, each time not losing any money or very little money. And moving forward, when the new generation 4Runner comes out, if people don't like it for any reason, this thing is going to maintain even better resale value. So what does that mean? Well, if you're in the fence about buying the current version or wait for a new one, my suggestion is to go ahead and buy the 5th gen 4Runner and keep it for a couple of years, because you're not going to lose money most likely. And then once the new one comes out and you drive it and you look at it and you watch the reviews and you decided that it's what you want, then trade in the 5th gen 4Runner for the 6th gen, and you won't probably lose any money anyway, or very little money. And that way you can kind of have both ways. You can have the current gen, enjoy it for a while, and then also maybe potentially upgrade the new one. And perhaps it's possible that you might actually like the 5th gen better than the 6th gen when it comes out, and you might decide to keep this version for the rest of your life or for a long time, which is fine, because this thing will indeed last rest of your life. You guys know how much I love the 4Runner, and even though I really like this one, I do look forward to a new one as well, and I did some rendering on that, which you'll see in the screen here. And if everything I predict is true, the new generation 4Runner will be kind of like an SUV version of the Tacoma, with a 2.4 turbo, with and without hybrid, with improved dynamics, improved technology, improved features. So I'm sure that will be an exciting version too. But for me and for many of you who are loyal to Toyota brand, especially Toyota trucks and Toyota SUVs, our heart and our soul is inspired by the 5th gen 4Runner, because this thing is so beautiful and so well built, and it'll be a friend for life. So I really hope you enjoyed my video. If so, please give me a thumbs up, make some comments, and if you haven't done so yet, would you kindly subscribe as well, because there's a lot more videos coming your way about the 4Runner and many other products down the road. Until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you so much.